Hey guys, in this video we have even more surd fun. In particular, we are looking at surds that contain a mixed number. So something like this chap down here, where we have the square root of 12 and a quarter. Now the secret to these bad boys is that we don't want a mixed number underneath the surd sign. So our first step is always to turn them into an improper fraction. Now once we've done that, we may be lucky, we may be able to square root the whole fraction, which will get us down to a nice normal fraction. We might end up with a surd on top that we can simplify, or we might end up with a surd on the bottom, in which case we're going to want to rationalize the denominator. So the big skills that we want here are turning a mixed number into an improper fraction, simplifying surds, and rationalizing denominators. So if any of those sound tricky or give you any trouble when we go through this video, do check out the videos on those three skills and then come back and play with this video. Okay, let's get cracking. Okay, so example 1, here we have the square root of 12 and 1/4. So remember, as I say, we never want a mixed number underneath a square root sign, so our first job is to turn the mixed number into an improper fraction. So let's not worry about the square root sign over him for a second. How do we turn 12 and 1/4 into an improper fraction? Well, remember, we multiply the whole number by the bottom of the fraction, so we're going to do 4 times 12, and then we add the top of the fraction, so add 1, and then that's all over the bottom of the fraction. So up on top, 4 times 12 is 48, add 1 is 49, so we get 49 on top and 4 on the bottom. So 12 and 1/4 is exactly the same as 49 over 4. Now this one's quite a nice example. Hopefully here you notice 49 and 4 are both square numbers. So if you have the square root of a fraction, then we simply square root the top and square root the bottom. So up on top, the square root of 49 is 7, and on the bottom, the square root of 4 is 2. So the square root of 12 and 1/4 actually breaks down to 7 over 2. Cracking. Okay, so example 2. Here we have another nice example where there's no square root in our answer. So again, we don't want a mixed number underneath the surd. So first of all, let's turn 2 and 7/9 into an improper fraction. So the bottom of the fraction multiplies the whole number, so 9 times 2, add the top of the fraction, so add 7, and then it's all over the bottom of the fraction. So 9 times 2 is 18, add 7, on top gives us 25, and then on the bottom we've still got the 9. So the mixed number there has now been broken down to 25 over 9. So the square root of 2 and 7/9 is exactly the same then as the square root of 25 over 9. And then again, we're square rooting a whole fraction, so we simply square root the top and square root the bottom. So the square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 9 is 3. So the square root of 2 and 7/9 can actually just be written as 5 over 3. Job's a good one. Okay, so this time we have the square root of 4.5. This time we don't get such a nice answer. We're going to end up with a surd on the bottom, in which case we then want to rationalize the denominator, as we will see here. So again, the first step, turn the mixed number into an improper fraction. So 4.5 is actually the same as 9 over 2. Have a go, make sure you get that mixed number being 9 over 2 as an improper fraction. So if we have the square root of 9 over 2, then that's the same as we square root the top, which gives us 3, but then on the bottom we end up with a root 2. Okay, so we never want a surd on the bottom of a fraction, so now we want to rationalize the denominator. So remember, in a case like this, to rationalize that denominator, we multiply the top and bottom by root 2. And what that will leave us with, that will give us 3 root 2 up on top, and then just a nice normal 2 on the bottom. So the square root of 4.5 can be written as 3 root 2 over 2, and that's the answer that we would want. Okay, this example is a whole heap of fun. So this time we want the square root of 6 3/4. So as ever, our first job is to turn 6 3/4 into an improper fraction. So make sure that you get 27 over 4 when you do that. Okay, so now we want to simplify as much as possible the square root of 27 over 4. So what we can do, if we've got the square root of the whole fraction 27 over 4, we can think of that as being root 27 over root 4. Now quite nicely on the bottom at least, the square root of 4 is 2. Now it's not quite so nice up on the top. So here now, we are practicing our skills of simplifying surds. So if this gives you any trouble at all, check out the videos on simplifying surds. So we can write root 27 as root 9 root 3. Then on the bottom we've still got 2. And then finally up on top, the square root of 9 is 3. So we end up with 3 root 3 over 2. There's nothing else we can do to simplify that. That is our answer. Cracking. Okay, so this time we have the square root of 3 1/5. So the first job, as ever, is to write the mixed number as an improper fraction. So make sure that you can make 3 1/5 16 over 5. So the square root of 3 1/5 is exactly the same as the square root of 16 over 5. Now very similarly to all the previous examples, we can now write that, or we can think of it as the square root of 16 over the square root of 5. Now that's useful to us here. The square root of 16 is 4, so we end up with 4 over root 5. Now as ever, you never want a surd on the bottom of a fraction, so now we need to rationalize the denominator. So to do that, we multiply the top and bottom by root 5. So our final answer is going to be 4 root 5 over 5. So the square root of 3 1/5 is exactly the same as 4 root 5 over 5. Cracking. Hey guys, here we have the final example for this video. So, as ever, we have the square root of 4 9/10, but we don't want a mixed number underneath the surd. So turn that into an improper fraction, and hopefully you will get 49 over 10. So now we can think of that as the square root of 49 over the square root of 10. Now up on top, the square root of 49 is 7, so we end up with 7 over root 10. Now we never want a third on the bottom of a fraction, so our final job here, again, is to rationalize the denominator. So to do that, we multiply the top and the bottom by root 10. So let's write that in on the bottom as well, root 10. So our final answer is going to be 7 root 10 all over 10. So the square root of 4 9/10 can be written or simplified to 7 root 10 over 10. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you found it useful. Remember, you never want a mixed number underneath the surd, so turn it into an improper fraction. Cheers! Was this video helpful? If so, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment letting me know how you get on. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss any videos. For any further information, you can find me on Facebook or Twitter. Search for Maths with Melv. Cheers, guys!